So kind of the first question that we usually ask our guests is, how on earth did you get here? So how did you become the pro in the self-defense and tactical training industry?
So I'm 62 years old, and I've lived my entire life wondering if I'm the most afraid person in the world. Obviously, I say that, tongue in cheek, and it's what inspired the whole No Fear program. But as a kid, I was afraid of everything, right? But I also had this keen, intuitive self-awareness / situational awareness thing where I can remember being like 6, 7 years old going, okay, if somebody's going to jump me from there, they'd be over there, so I should walk over here. This is like weird, but I was afraid. But I was always nerdy with that stuff. And I grew up in the 60s when, the original Wild Wild West was on, and Maddox and Streets of San Francisco, and all these like crazy macho. Every show was solved with a fight, whether it was, somebody, chopping somebody with, like Manchurian Candidate with Frank Sinatra, like just old school, like not like John Wick level choreography. But I was glued to the TV. I was watching that stuff. I was fascinated by that stuff. And there was a thought I had that none of these guys, like as a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old, you're not thinking these are actors. You just think that's real, right? And there was this thought I had that, wow, maybe my fear would go away if I learned how to fight, if I learned how to defend myself, if I could step in and, be the courageous bystander. And that was just the back of my head. What's important is I was a good athlete, just for your audience, and I was a good athlete, but I was never great. I never made it, whether it was gymnastics, tennis, baseball, football. I could play. I wasn't picked last, as captain of teams, but I could play all the sports. It was an interesting dance because I was good, but I'd be up at bat going, don't strike out, don't let down the team. Your mom's watching, don't like. And I was thinking about all the things that could go wrong instead of all the things that could go right. And that's an important reframe, because a lot of people, I think, deal with that, worry about what other people think about them, worry about how they're going to be received, how they're going to be perceived, and that changes. I mean, it's just that imposter syndrome, performance anxiety, and just focusing on the wrong stuff. Well, fast forward, navigating life. I'm 12 years old. I'm leaving school, pickup game on a weekend, and I'm 12 years old. I'm turning 13. And these two kids, who are like 15, 16 years old, they see me leaving the school ground, and they're like, hey, kid. I'm like, oh man, these older kids are talking to me. So I run over to them and I go, yeah, what's up? They go, hey, when do you go to high school? We were at high school about 500 yards up the street. I said, oh, I go to high school next year. They went, well, we'd like to welcome you to high school. I'm like, oh, cool, thank you. And they grabbed me, and one of them pins me, arms behind the back. And I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And this guy does like the first bolo punch next to like Sugar Ray Leonard. He just starts to wind up like this, and it goes in super slow motion. And I'm like trying to struggle. I'm like pulling away, and this guy winds up and he lets a body like uppercut go to my body. Now, I had never been beaten up before. I'd been in a couple of skirmishes as a kid, but they were like wrestling matches at the schoolyard. But this was like significant. Like when you're 12 versus 15, there's a big difference in size and age. The most important thing is the fear in my mind. And I thought the punch was going to kill me, because everything, you probably know this term from training. I don't know if you remember the term tachypsyche. It's a big fancy word for, everything appears in slow motion. Your brain is processing things at such a great speed that the real world events look like they're happening in slow motion.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you could please rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast, we greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next episode.